echolocation on location. And we are sitting here. My name is David Isaksson. I'm the Swedish part of this project. We are sitting here in lovely kitchen now. Lovely November weather, actually. And we are the FinTech Hub recording live. And we are sitting together, first time in real life. How does it feel, Alina? You are our host here today in wonderful Moldova. Why do you have this kind of weather? Is it in November, really?
Yeah. First of all, welcome. I'm really glad to host you, even though we don't really invite people in November to visit us because it's not the nicest time of year, as you can tell. So it's better for the next time to come in the summer or in early autumn.
But we like your country anyway, right?
Yeah, but nevertheless, I think that's a pretty busy time of the year, and it's a really nice time when you can do stuff. So that's, I mean, for our event tonight, it's like a perfect timing. Yeah, but you know, it's funny that there are so many ways to pronounce our city.
So what is the correct one?
Well,
or maybe you, Levani, you are the one who should try and say it correctly. You haven't presented yourself.
Hi. My name is Levani. I'm really glad to be here and finally meeting you guys. We have been working on this project for more than 1 year, and it's great pleasure for me to be here with you today. And this is my first time in Chisinau.
Yay!
Yeah,
Chisinau.
Right? So Chisinau is the right way, but actually it's cute to hear it in different ways from foreigners all over the world. And at some point there was a campaign actually. I don't know if it succeeded or not, but the campaign was called Kiss Me Now. So let's make it easier for foreigners and let's tell them that our city name is Kiss Me Now.
That's good. And give us a little bit, as you are our host now, Moldova or Kiss Me Now for beginners. Where are we actually? What are we seeing here? What about it?
Yeah, there is an activity you can do all year around. Doesn't matter the weather, doesn't matter anything that happens around. So we can make wine tastings all the time. That's something I will invite you later to do. So besides that, it's really enjoyable just to talk to people. I think people are our national value. So you can connect with them, you can try them on their hospitality, and you can of course try some traditional food. And November is November everywhere, so we know it's rainy, we know it's gray, but let's forget about that and let's talk about nice things, plans that we have here for our podcast especially. And we can.
Yeah, some November rain, we've seen that, right, already. So, again, I'm glad to be here. And when we started this project, David, it was, as I said, 1.5 years ago. And during the COVID especially, it was impossible to meet. And we had to do these Zoom meetings that were really long and sometimes boring. But now, finally, we are here and we are planning a great event today. And I hope that it will be great.
Yeah, and that will also be, of course, a podcast, because the whole project is a podcast where we connect the three countries, Sweden, Moldova, and Georgia.
That's a funny combination, right? I mean, how did the three countries got together from the beginning? Like Moldova, Georgia, we can understand the setting, the Eastern European one, but Sweden, I mean, how does Sweden spices things up right here? Like
yeah, what do you think? What is the benefit of having Sweden in this?
I think the Moldova and Georgia are really alike in a lot of sense, in the political, economical, human to human, but having Sweden as like a big brother.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Yeah, bad, good, not bad. Like it's good, and like in life, it's always great to have a friend or a person who has a little bit more experience in like politically or economically and can help you, or even in a like societal sphere. Like Sweden is kind of more developed in that sense, so we are trying to get out the good examples that you guys have. So it's been an honor to have you.
But I think we actually started this with a bit of different setting. So The idea was to connect young people from all three countries in order for everyone to learn from everyone's experiences, and most of all, to get to know each other, like, because many times we know some superficial events, some really big events that the media is talking about, but we don't know the essential. We don't know how lifestyles are and how young people are living their lives in these countries, and how are they, like, what kind of problems are they facing, and so on. So the idea which really attracted us when you, David, suggested this podcast to us, like from my side, I'm saying, was that wow, we will be able to understand young people in other countries better, and yeah, in minor details.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, I think. I agree with you, Alina, totally, because the human to human understanding is like beyond any border or any like European Union or stuff like that. The humans are really basic with our like relationship needs and understanding of each other. So these kind of podcasts really gave us, first of all, to understand each other and see how what are we made of, and also to our young listeners that we as in like media entities have in our respective countries or towns. So I'm pretty happy with our results for now, and I hope that it will be better in future.
Yeah, there's always room for improvement. But we have
Yeah.
done a number of subjects. A lot of things have been connected to work and opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the subjects, you mean, the topics?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually started a bit more serious when we did the pilot. So we talked about politics a little bit, because that's all the time something interesting to talk about, especially when you're from Eastern Europe. But I'm really happy that we got the chance to talk about lighter subjects, but at the
Like
same
dating,
time.
for example. You had a
Yeah,
dating podcast that
yeah.
should be out soon.
Yeah, like dating, but it seems like a light topic, but actually it's really hard to, because we talked over the feedback, yeah, that we shared, we talked that actually talking about simpler subject, it's more difficult. But what we didn't do now, for now, maybe we should present each other like very shortly, just for the people that will become our followers, let's hope, to know a little bit about ourselves.
Sure, I can go ahead and start. So as I said, my name is Levani. I'm 27. I have been working in the media and communication sphere for like more than 8 years now. I work at K-News. K-News is a small regional media organization based in Kakheti in Tel Aviv, Georgia. We have been operating for more than 20 years. So we have come like full circle. We started as a like newspaper and only like print-based media, but now we are developing this multimedia kind of media agency, which does a lot of things. And for me, this project especially was like a passion project, so to say, because doing this podcast, and especially international ones, has been a great pleasure for me, and I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, and I'm David. I'm not going to tell you my age, but it's slightly yours, a little bit above maybe. I'm at the Global Bar magazine in Global Pod in Sweden, and we have been working with the global issues over many years. And I think this connecting countries and connecting people is one of the key things that we'll be doing in different formats. And in this case, I think it's really relevant, as you were asking, Alina, before, why do we choose these countries? I think that often one thing I have seen that countries that used to be part of what once called the Soviet Union, they had the relation via Moscow. Everything was related to Moscow. But actually, we want to create this direct relation with Sweden, and also what we can see that Sweden might have contacts with Moldova. We have a Swedish development corporation here, which is rather large, and we have contact with Georgia. But we never connect the countries, the two of them, with us, and I think that is really important. And I should also say that this project has been made possible by the Swedish Institute, which are actually financing us, because we made a joint proposal, and they liked the idea, and then we have financing so for running this in about during a year. And as you say, we're developing different topics and different thematics for the podcast, and we want to have this interaction with different people in joining us and taking part in discussion.
We should also thank Olga, I think, the one who like connected us and helped us meet each other. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You need people who connect other people.
Yeah, that's how we got together. And I am Alina. I'm from Moldova, and I'm currently managing Diaz. Diaz is a news website targeted at young readers in Moldova. We are on the market already for almost 10 years, and we have become in time a very important source of information for young people, not only in the country. So we are on a national level. But since the beginning, we had our attention focused on young people. So our main, like the core audience of Diaz is people between 15 and 35 years old. So that's the core. And when we got the proposal to join a podcast like that, where we could actually connect young people from all three countries, that was like a very, very good idea, because of course we want to do more and more for our young people. And one of our mottos, let's say, for the reason for which we are doing every day what we are doing, is that we want to really become a guide to all young people in Moldova through our information, to guide them. And yeah, here through our podcast, the guiding will be that through our editions, we will let young people from Moldova, in our case, to get to know better their colleagues, maybe their mates, their friends in Sweden and Georgia. So
And when we planned this, the situation was a little bit different in your neighboring country, Ukraine. And as I said, we planned this before the war broke out. And of course, how has this affected the situation in your countries, would you say?
I think one of the things that probably we have, the list of topics got larger, because the events that happened, of course, affected us very much. Well, it made it probably a bit difficult for, like, for example, for us to decide to meet. And of course, it doesn't have a very positive impact, of course. But yeah, at the same time, probably maybe it unifies us more.
Yep, I agree. And even the electricity thing yesterday, right? The war is maybe not really close to us, but at the same time, it still affected us because of the electricity. So, from my perspective, like, it's really interesting that before the war we did like some episodes about the political stuff more, but after the war, I think everyone is like little bit every day listening to all of this, like really important, but at the same time not that enjoyable stuff. So we try to create podcasts that are more humane level, and like to make something lighter in these really dark hours in the humanity.
And also being very user-friendly, both for Moldova and Georgia. You are both in the process of joining the European Union. You are candidate countries. So what that does mean for young people in your countries, for example, in Georgia, what does it mean?
For Georgia, we have been really trying to, for a long time, to join. And for the young people especially, we have been raised, we have not been raised in this old Soviet, pre-Soviet or post-Soviet educational system. Still, we have some problems, but I think that young Georgians are really European with their heart and with their minds, because we are really trying to improve ourselves, and this project will help them to meet their colleagues or their friends that might be one day their neighbors. So yeah.
I think from our side, becoming closer to the European Union brings more opportunities in the face of young people. But what I really hope is that they will start seeing these opportunities at home more than abroad. So we at the ES, for example, we've always encouraged people to go abroad to take the experience, but to come back and bring back all the lessons learned. And with becoming closer to the European Union, I really hope that our institutions, especially the educational one, the universities, but also other institutions, get closer somehow to the European level of how they are working, actually, of how they are doing their activities. So I really hope that will be the plus, and that people here, like young people, will choose more and more to stay at home and work here, because we really need them. The brain drain now is so big that it's really hard. I mean, I'm actually seeing from our experience of hiring people, it's so hard. So I think it's everywhere, but still, the brain drain that I was talking about, it doesn't help at all.
So maybe you should get some Swedish people come here work with you.
Well,
Or Georgian.
welcome. But in my field, in journalism, you would need a language.
We can learn. We are optimistic at it. But we are here. This place called FinTech Hub, and here this is an example of what you see happening and what you want to see more of.
That's what I mean. I mean, it's part of a big university in Moldova, and through a place like that, Moldovan students can access different opportunities, and maybe they can come here with their first startup, or they can come here with their first project or with their first event. And that's really cool to have these kind of places. And that's what I was talking about, this kind of closure that you would like to have with European Union. And by this, for young people to understand that at home you can do it just as good as you can do it abroad. So
Yeah, totally agree. And from like these kinds of spaces where we are now, in Georgia we have the National Innovation Agency, which has like co-working spaces that are also I want to say funded by World Bank. That really helps us. So these kinds of spaces brings together like-minded, innovative, young, motivated people, and it really helps us to connect more with everyone. So yeah.
So, and as we said in the beginning, this is the first time we actually meet. Otherwise, we have been seeing each other on Zoom and other platforms. So now we are finally here in Kiss Me Now, right? The capital of Moldova. But what do we plan now for the future? What's in our pipeline?
Yeah, we want to develop the podcast, to develop more editions of the podcast. We want to find more interesting people from all three countries to talk with us about different topics of interest. So one very near plan that we have is to have an event today here in Chișinău with young people from Moldova, and maybe get inspired by them, and maybe get inspired with new topics and new ways of being more useful to them through our podcast. So the podcast is still on for this year and for the next one. And hopefully we will have a similar meeting in Georgia.
Yeah, and if you're listening from Georgia, Moldova, or Sweden, or maybe even from some other country, and think that you have something to say and it's interesting, you can reach out to us. And this podcast is the main idea, and the reason is to connect people. So if you want to connect, here we are.
And the podcast, you can find him at Spotify and most other podcast platforms, and on social media, of course, also. So we're developing step by step.
Yeah, don't forget of social media. It's really important. We are developing content there, and we are trying to bring you some information from the podcast. If you don't have the time to listen to the whole podcast, or if you just want to understand the meaning of it, or what's at its core, then you can easily find us on Instagram, for example, where you can find interesting information there, and you can find more about the previous episodes, but also about the future episodes. So maybe now we can talk about a little bit about our team, just shortly. It's not only the three of us. We have more people, so we have
we have from Georgia, we have Malo, Malo Shavadze. Malo is a brilliant young woman who is helping us to work with our volunteers, or anyone who would like to join this podcast from Georgian side. And basically from Georgia there's only two of us.
Yeah, and from Sweden we have Samuel Rivera, who is a Swedish student, and he's struggling with becoming a podcast host. I think he's done a very good start here, and we'll have him on several other episodes. And also we have some other Swedish people joining us now and then for the discussions. And of course, we want to broaden the base in Sweden also. We are doing that step by step.
Yeah, and from Moldova, there is me that I'm coordinating the whole thing, and from the Moldova side. And I have two beautiful, curly, smart, badass girls that are helping me with the rest. So we have Alina Maria that is hosting from the Moldova side, and we have Valeria that is in charge of social media channels, and she's the one creating the content there. So we will be all very grateful for your follows and for your recommendations to your friends.
So go on, listen to us. We have had a number of previous episodes. Should we say something before we finish this one? What we have talked about earlier?
Yep, like a short review of the topics we discussed previously. So this season, let's say, we started it very powerfully, I could say, with a strong subject. We talked about how LGBTQ parades are happening in our countries, and we understood that where do we have to work and what steps are to be done in the future. For example, we understood that in Georgia there are it's a more problematic aspect of it, while in Moldova we are making some small progress. And in Sweden we have a celebration of the whole event, so the contrast is really big, but it was really nice to put everything together and understand how important it is to keep talking about that, actually. And then we had a nice topic that I really love about the job market. It's crazy what's happening right now everywhere. So that was one that, I actually, now I'm in this job thing because I told you that.
You're not thinking about
No,
ending your work. No.
not me personally. I'm just struggling with people that I'm trying to hire. So it's really complicated, but at the same time, it's really fascinating to discover young people and their interests right now, and the opportunities they have. And
Yeah, in the future, I personally am really passionate about doing an episode where we will talk about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs from both Moldova and from Georgia and from Sweden also, because we are both thriving economies. We are trying to improve. So this topic is really, really important for me, and I will surely do it soon. So keep in touch and wait for it.
Oh, and there was the one with the influencers, also a very, very nice topic that, it's really an important one. And it's, whether we like it or not, this is something that is happening and we should pay attention to that. So we talked about how influencers are influencing us. Wow. But yeah, that was a great one. The last one that wasn't yet published was a fun one. We tried to understand how young people nowadays perceive dating, online dating, physical one. All forms, and probably it should be also a good one. So that's to be published yet.
So we have a lot of, and we shouldn't tell too much about what we're planning for the future. That should be a little bit of a surprise, but because we want to have more input. But having had a very nice Moldovan lunch, because we agreed there's a lot of things in common with food and drinks, and we have a lot of things in common when it comes to food and culture and tradition. We already talked a little bit about that, so we shouldn't tell too much about it. But this is a good topic for an episode as well.
Yeah, that's great idea, because I am a foodie, so I really like especially Georgian food. But this is my first time in Moldova, and I was amazed by the hospitality and great quality of food that you guys have here. So definitely we should think about doing an episode where maybe we will be trying some food live and also do the podcasting at the same time.
I think we can do that in Georgia with the hachapuri. So
yeah, okay.
masterclass.
Yeah,
Yep.
that seems a great idea to continue. So keep on listening to us, and most of all, listen to the young participants and the host of the upcoming podcast, because there are more episodes coming with all of our team and with a lot of guests coming in.
Yep.
So thank you too much, and so thank you so much for listening to this what kind of special internal or special behind the scene episode of the
special
Echolocation,
edition, yeah.
special edition of the Echolocation podcast.